I have earned my daily rep from the roof of the unpolished kind of stride. Not smooth and I have nothing left to hide behind the sanded and the buffed and the refined. Not smooth is the most specific kind of honest that the evening recognizes. Not smooth and full of the most specific surprises for the ones who run their fingers down the straight. Not smooth is the most specific fate of the man who quit the sandpaper for good. They buff their surfaces before the show, the rotary and the compound and the glow of the finished ambition ready. They buff until the surface holds them steady. Through the rotary of the boat, the unbuffed surface doesn't need the clock of the polishing schedule to exist. The unbuffed is the most specific. The teeth of the uneven catch the cloth of every careful hand that strikes the path of the evening at the most specific weave. The teeth of the uneven make them leave their careful fabric on the edge. I am the teeth of the most specific exam. The evening gives to every hand that tries. The teeth collect the most specific prize. Not smooth, and that's the point of every step. Not smooth, and I have earned my daily rep from the roof of the unpolished kind of stride. Not smooth, and I have nothing left to hide. Beyond the sanded and the buffed and the refined. Not smooth is the most specific kind of honest that the evening recognizes. Not smooth, full of the most specific surprises for the ones who run their fingers down the straight. Not smooth is the most specific fate of the man who quit the sandpaper for good. The teeth stay sharp and every edge is mine. The rough is the most committed design. The trajectory, I was running more straight. The trajectory had the most specific day, with the object coming from the other lane. The trajectory and the object shared the plane. Even at the most specific point, the trajectory didn't care about the joint. Decision of the careful to avoid. The trajectory and the object were deployed. The angle of approach was absolute. The angle left no room for the reroute. The careful version tries before the meeting. The angle locked in the collision was complete. Two things that weren't supposed to meet. Two things at the most specific grid of the evening's most committed intersection. Two things without the lane correction that the careful version would have made. Two things that neither started, neither played. Safe game of the evasive and the miss. Two things collided and I must insist. The wreckage is more interesting than the whole. Two things that met and neither took the toll of the civilized and the accident avoided. Two things that hit and I am overjoyed. They swerve at the last committed second. The near miss is the most specific beckon. Victory to careful celebrates. The swerving and the almost is the gate. The careful walks through to the undamaged side. I held my lane and went the other side. Delivered at the speed of the commit was the most specific thing the swerve on mid. The crump crumple zone absorb what it was built to take. The crumple zone is the most specific ache the body carries from the meeting of the two. The crumple zone is the evidence I flew into the evening at the unswerved rate. The crumple zone is the most specific ache the body that refused to change its name. The crumple zone recorded every grain of the impact at the speed I chose to go. The crumple zone is all I need to know about the value of the unswerved ride. The crumple zone is the evening's pride. Two things that were supposed to meet it. Two things at the most specific grid of the evening's most committed intersection. Two things without the lane correction that the careful version would have made. Two things that neither swerved and neither played. The safe game of the invasive and the miss. Two things collided and I must insist the wreckage is more interesting than the whole. Two things that met and neither took the toll of the civilized and the accident avoided. Two things at it and I am overjoyed. The crumple zone holds every beautiful day. The collision is the evening's best event. The smallest piece got under the skin. The smallest pieces operating thin beneath the surface where the tweezers can't go. The smallest pieces running the show from underneath the layer, the visible maintenance. The smallest piece is the source of the remains of the discomfort that the comfortable ignores. The smallest piece guides without the doors or the windows or the wall invitation. The smallest piece is the most specific station. The evening view beneath my daily walk. The larger pieces I can pick and choose. The larger pieces were the ones to lose. On the floor of what got broken. The larger pieces were the most outspoken. Evidence of the damage and the split. The larger pieces told me where the hit connected with the surface of the whole. The larger pieces played the starring role in the drama of the visible destruction. The smallest one avoided the instruction of the cleaner crew with the dustpan and the broom. The smallest one embedded in the room of the body that the broom can't reach. The smallest one is past the longest teeth. The cleanup crew could offer with its tools. The smallest one rewrote the damage rule. They sanitize the wound and pull it clean. The extraction is the most hygienic. The medical can stage for the embedded. The extraction is the most accredited. Conversation for the thing beneath the skin. The extraction is the most specific. When the medical provides against the state, I cancel the extraction and I pay the embedded the respect of the remain. The extraction crowd is never entertained. The possibility that what got in is more interesting than the unblemished skin. The medical was holding as the goal. The embedded is the most specific mold inside the organization of the clean. The embedded is the sharpest I have been. The irritation's the reminder, not the flaw. The irritation is the most specific raw communication from the thing below. The irritation is the evening undertow. Transposition in the flesh, the irritation in the body's mesh of the nerve and the motor in the legs. The irritation is the most specific taste of the evening that the extraction would delete. The irritation is the most specific beat the body adds to every step I take. The irritation is the most specific ache that proves the evening's smallest piece survives. The irritation is how the embedded thrives. The smallest piece got under the skin. The smallest piece is operating thin. The surface where the tweezers can't go. Smallest pieces running the show from underneath the layer the visible maintains. The smallest piece is the source of the remains of the discomfort that the comfortable ignores. The smallest piece guiding without the doors or the windows or the wall invitation. The smallest piece is the most specific station. The evening bill beneath my daily walk. The irritation is the evening's only talk. The embedded stays and I prefer the sting. The smallest piece turned out to be the king. before was 45. The pressure found the line where the concrete lied about its own integrity. The pressure proved the structure wasn't fun. Are they honest when the testing came around? The pressure made the most specific sound of the given way that no repair can fix. The pressure split the strongest of the bricks. The lines deeper than the surface show. The runs through the things I thought I owed to the version of the solid I maintained. The line runs and the solid is straight, running down the center of the head. To the vision that excelled at the presentation of the whole. Running through the body's thickest wall. Splitting with the managed to get together.
No.
Forever. I was promised by the structure's guarantee. Running down the center line of me. I'm not filling it with any. The running line is letting in the light from the depth that the sealed couldn't breach. The running line is the most specific breach. I've been waiting for without the knowledge. The running line just sent me back to college. They patch the hairline with the quick set pace, the cosmetic and the hurry down the pace of the cover up for the morning seas, the evidence of the structural disease that the evening special across the face. They patch the pace holds the place of the honest with the liquor commute. Out of the hairline, travel from the root to the surface without the intervention. The hairline is no specific mention. The structure makes of its own limitation. The patching crowd is the inflation of the solid at the cost of the reveal. The hairline is the most authentic guild. The structure offers to the ones who let it run. The patching crowd is hiding from the sun. The fissure is the most specific door. The fissure is the entrance to the floor. The body that the solid version sealed. The fissure is the most specific field. The endless deep precedes upon. The fissure is the instinct and dawn. The version of the man has met the most specific thing it can't forget. The fissure and the depth are now connected. The fissure is the most unexpected entrance to the version I was keeping underneath the sun. Running down the center of the hell. Running through the version that excelled. The presentation of the whole. Running through the body's thickest wall. Splitting with the managed kept together. Running through the permanent forever. I was promised by the structure's guarantee. Running down the center line of me. I'm not with anything tonight. The running line is letting the light from the depth that the seal couldn't reach. The running line is the most specific reach. I've been waiting for without the knowledge. The running line just sent me back to college. The fissure stays. The solid version wasn't built for this.
No.
The blade that even will spin. The thinnest separation of the skin. And the underneath that the careful never part. The blade is the most surgical of arts. The even practices on the will and hide. The blade through the management of pride. I wore as the most protective of the shell. It's thin enough to tell the difference between the shown and the kept. The blade divided what the surface swept under itself for the maintenance of the clean. The blade is the most specific thing between. Opening up the evening's host provides to the ones who need the underneath. The incision is the sharpest kind of teeth, thin enough to separate the true from the performed, thin enough to cut through what the comfortable warm. There's the blanket of the managed over the real, thin enough to show me what I feel underneath the insulation. Kept thin enough to find where the honest slept below the surface of the daily coat. Thin enough to cut the evening between the public and the private man. Thin enough to execute the plan. The evening half or the division of the two. I am coming through. They use the blunt for the safest kind of spread. The butter knife for the evening and the bread of the comfortable at the softest cut. The butter knife keeps the underneath shut from the visible at the gentlest divide. I chose the sharpest and the thinnest side of the evening's most competitive blade. The butter knife can never make the grade of the separation that the sharp provides. The blunt is where the comfortable hides from the precision of the genuine divide. The sharp is the most specific pride. Precision isn't cruel. Surgical is the most specific tool. Uses for the cleanest part. The surgical is the evening sharpest art. The difference between the layers of the man. The surgical is the most specific scan. The body at the resolution of the truth. The surgical divided me into and what was underneath the outer pay was sharper than the blade that made the raid on the surface of the man and the one. The surgical revealed what I had sworn. Thin enough to separate the true from the performed, thin enough to cut through what the comfortable warmed. As the blanket of the managed over the real, thin enough to show me what I feel underneath the insulation of a cap. Thin enough to find where the honest slept below the surface of the daily coat. Thin enough to cut the evening's moat between the public and the private man. Thin enough to execute the plan. The evening half for the division of the two. Thin enough and I am coming through. The surgical stay sharp and I stay split. The blade revealed what the surface wouldn't admit. Walking on the surface step by step, walking on the carpet of the crack that the even laid across the floor I use. Walking on the beautiful refuse of the evening transparent break. Walking in the surface for my sake, reflecting every light from underneath. Walking on the most specific teeth. The floor is ever grown against my soul. Walking on the sharpest kind of soul. Oh, the evening scattered for the barefoot man. The barefoot was a choice. The barefoot is the most specific lesson. The reading of the surface, the skin. The barefoot is the most committed sin. Against the gospel of the soul protected walk. The barefoot and the surface. The shoe will never overhear or share. The barefoot raised the floor, and the floor is bare. Don't do the dangerous with the thick rubber of the most protective trick. She provides it against the sharp, the tiptoe and the even blazes. For the sharpest is the top. The mosaic, the broken, made of my feet. The mosaic is the most specific street. The evening pays for the ones who walk without. The mosaic is the most specific shot. The floor performs against the unprotected soul. The mosaic is the most specific toll. The barefoot pays for the privilege of the field. The mosaic is the most specific wheel that the floor provides to the committee walk. The mosaic in my soul continue to talk. In the language of the pressure and the give. The mosaic is the sharpest way to live. Walking on the surface that bites back. Walking on the carpet of the crowd. But the evening the floor I use. Walking on the beautiful refuse of the evening's most transparent break. Walking in the surface from my it's reflecting every light from underneath. Walking on the most perfect teeth. The floor is ever grown against my soul. Walking on the sharpest kind of soul. The evening scattered for the barefoot man. The mosaic doesn't I prefer the plan of the barefoot over the rubber sheet. The sharpest floor became the richest feet. Morning after look at what remained. Morning after count on what the evening drained. From the inventory of the standing in the hole. The morning after try to take the toll of the damage that the evening's depth had done. The morning after found that every sum it calculated didn't match the loss. The morning after couldn't find the bars. The audit of the damage came back wrong. The artist said the book was strong. Version of the evening's final test. The artist said the record was the best. The day after the everything came down. The day after is the most specific crown. The evening places on the head of the survive. The day after is the proof that I'm alive in ways the standing version never was. The day after the most specific cause for the celebration of the still here, still me. The day after is the most specific free I've ever felt inside the morning's light. The day after the most destructive night is the clearest morning I have ever seen. The day after, and I've never been more keen. They be built before the evidence is dry. The reconstruction and the most specific lie that the evening never happened to the man. The reconstruction is the fastest plan. The careful executes against the proof. The reconstruction puts the morning's roof back on the structure that they ignorant. The reconstruction hides the most direct evidence that the evening's death was here. I left the reconstruction in the rearview mirror of the morning's newest drive. The unreconstructed is the most alive. The landscape of the posters, the most honest map. The landscape of the posters, the most specific gap between the who I was and the wreckage made. The landscape of the posters, the most specific glory the evening gave. The man who didn't flinch. The landscape of the posters, every inch of the territory. The standard couldn't see. The landscape of the posters, the most specific need that the evening's depths could carve from what was there. The landscape of the posters everywhere. I take prize. The day after the everything came down. The day after is the most specific crown. Evening places on the head of the survive. The day after is the proof that I'm alive. In ways the standard version never was. The day after is the most specific cause for the celebration of the still here, still me. The day after is the most specific free I've ever felt inside the morning's light. The day after the most destructive night. The clearest morning I have ever seen. The day after, and I've never been more keen. The landscape of the poet's mind.
Luz.
The wreckage spoke louder than the whole could talk. The weight came down and I didn't step aside. The weight compressed the version that I hide. Behind the pride and the standing tall. The weight came down and I absorbed it all. Into the flat version of the man. The weight compressed me past the original plan of the vertical and the three-dimensional. The weight came down in the most conventional. She occupied something new. The compressed delivered what the tall never knew. The heat is heavy, it's drop. Landed on the shoulders that I brought to the top of the evening and it's most gravitational. But tonight was the most irrational. I'm under pressure for a single thing to hold. The tonnage in my shoulders have been told by the careful that the low would be the end. The tonnage in my shoulders didn't bend. They compress the way that the compress provides. Is the density, the vertical divides. Too thin across the height of the tall man. The compressed is the most specific and reinforce the vertical with the base. The structural support against the grace of the downward that the evening recommends. The basis of the vertical extends. It's T against the natural compress. I let the vertical absorb the press without the brace and with the flattened flow. The most specific version of the density. The brace prevents the most specific intensity. The evening offers to the ones who take the low. The flattened is the most specific row. The diamond was the cold that took the weight. The diamond is the most specific fate of the body that accepted the compress. The diamond is the product of the press. At the point that the cold could not refuse. The diamond is the cold that didn't lose. It's cold and the tonnage made its claim. The diamond is the cold that kept its flame burning at the center of the sea. The diamond is the most specific place. The evening gets when the pressure finds the one who takes the weight. The diamond has begun. The weight came down and I didn't step aside. The weight compressed the version that I hide. Behind me a bright standing tall. The weight came down, I absorbed it all. Into the flat diversion of the man. The weight compressed me past the original plan of the vertical and the three-dimensional. The weight came down in the most conventional. The shape I occupied is something new. The compressed delivered the tall never knew. The diamond formed and the pressure stays my friend. The cold took the weight and shines without end. The sea light walk was airtight at its peak. The seal was the most stringent technique. The body used against the evening's pin. The seal was guaranteed to keep. Point of the evening's needle from the chest. sleeping is the song. The hiss is the most specific alarm. The body surface where the pain got through. The hiss is the sweetest sound I ever knew. And the pressure equalized. One hole in the body's most disguised. You found the exit it deserved. One hole in the overinflated curve. To the proportion of the real. One hole and I finally got to feel. But even this feel pressurized tonight. One hole in the outside met the inside. At the diameter of the even smallest tool. One hole in the inflated version's rules. Expired at the hiss of the release. One hole and the tension finally ceased. They passed the point at fastest speed. The rapid repair is the most specific need. The inflated live by at the cost of the equalized that the patching lost. I let the puncture breathe without the kit. The puncture and the body of the most legit relationship. The evenings can design the patching. Left the best part behind. The deflation isn't failure, it's the fit. The deflation is the most specific knit between the body and the evening's air. The deflation is the most specific share of the atmosphere with the personal inside. The deflation is the evening's longest ride. At the proportion the inflated oversold. The deflation is the bravest and the bold admission that the pressure wasn't mine. The deflation is the most specific sign that the body found its natural size at last. The deflation is the future, not the past. One hole and the pressure equalized. One hole and the body's most disguised. Tension found the exit it deserved. One hole and the overinflated curve. To the proportion of the real. One hole and I finally got to feel the atmosphere, the pressure rise tonight. One hole and the outside met the inside. At the diameter of the evening's smallest tool. One hole and the inflated version's rule. Expired at the hiss of the released. One hole and the tension finally ceased. The deflation found my natural size. One pill was all it took to equalize. The detonation left its souvenirs embedded in the body and the ears of the man who stood the closest to the blast. The souvenirs driver the lane too fast to catch a catalog or file away. The souvenirs are the evening sharpest spray of the distributed across the standing crowd. The detonation wasn't even loud, but the metal it distributed was wide. The souvenirs are living on the inside.
Look.
The epicenter was the speaker on the left. The epicenter was the most specific depth of the comfortable from the standing man. The epicenter had its own specific plan for the distribution of the sharp. The epicenter played the evening's harp with the strings of the metallic and the set. The epicenter was the main event. They stand behind the bariatric line. The safe distance is the most specific sign. The careful rep before they take a step. The safe distance is the most specific rep. I stood at ground zero in my chest. They dacked the speaker at the evening's best. They go for the maximum seat. I stood and took the evening sharpest green. Lodged is the most permanent memento. Lodged is the evening's most specific ento. Into the body's most committed key. Lodged is the opposite of sleep. For the tissue that received the evening's sin. Lodged is the most committed friend the body has from the evening's closest blast. Left its souvenirs embedded in the body and the ears of the man who stood the closest to the blast. The souvenirs traveling too fast. So catalog a file away. The souvenirs are the evening's sharpest ray of beauty across the standing crowd. The detonation wasn't even loud, but the metal it distributed was wide. The souvenirs are living on the inside. The large stays put in die, I'm keeping every piece. The detonation sign my permanent release. The edge I'm carrying tonight won't file. The edge resists its own style. Of the uncle and the refuse. The edge is the most beautifully abused. Version of the line is straight abandoned. The edge is where the careful never landed. Because the careful only walks on the file. The edge I'm carrying is the most specific wild. This already won't apologize for the cut. This already is the most specific strut. The body walks when the smoothest left the room. This already is the evening's favorite groom. Not smooth, and that's the point of every step. Not smooth, and I have earned my daily rep from the rough and the unpolished kind of stride. Not smooth, and I have nothing left to hide. Beyond the city and the buffed and the refined. Not smooth is the most specific kind of honest that the evening recognizes. Not smooth and full of the most specific surprises for the ones who run their fingers down the straight. Not smooth, the most specific fate. A man who quit the sandpaper for good. They buff their surfaces with the shock of the rotary, the compound and the glow of the finished and the exhibition ready. They buff until the surface holds them steady on through the rotary off the boat. The unbuffed surface doesn't need the clock of the polishing schedule to exist. The unbuffed is the most specific twist. The teeth of the uneven catch of every careful hand that strokes the broth of the evening. Most specific weave. The teeth of the uneven make them leave. They're careful fabric on the edge I am. The teeth are the most specific exam. The evening gives to every hand that tries. The teeth are the most specific prize. Not smooth, and that's the point of every step. Not smooth, and I have earned my daily rep from the rough of the unpolished kind of stride. Not smooth, and I have nothing left to hide. Behind the sanded and the buffed and the refined. Not smooth is the most specific kind of honest that the evening recognizes. Not smooth and full of the most specific surprises for the ones who run their fingers down the street. Not The trajectory, I was running almost straight. The trajectory had no specific date. With the object coming from the other lane. The trajectory and the object shared the plane. Of the even at the most specific point. The trajectory didn't care about the joint. Just said another careful to avoid. The trajectory and the object were deployed. The angle of a approach was absolute. The angle left no room for the reroute. The careful version tries before the meet. The angle locked in the collision was complete. Two things that weren't supposed to meet did. Two things at the most specific grid of the evening's most committed intersection. Two things without the lane correction that the careful version would have made. Two things that neither swerved and neither played. The safe game of the evasive and the miss. Two things collided in a must insist. The wreckage is more interesting than the whole. Two things that met and neither took the toll of the civilized and the accident avoided. Two things that hit and I am overjoyed. They swerve at the last committed second. The near miss is the most specific beckon. Victory to careful celebrate. The swerving in the almost is the gate. The careful walks through to the undamaged side. I held my lane and went the other side. Delivered at the speed of the committed. Was the most specific thing the swerve omitted. The crumple zone absorbed what it was built to take. The crumple zone is the most specific gate. The body carries from the meeting of the two. The crumple zone is the evidence I flew into the evening at the unswerved rate. The crumple zone is the most specific fate of the body that refused to change its shape. The crumple zone recorded every grain of the impact at the speed I chose to go. The crumple zone is all I need to know about the value of the unswerved ride. The crumple zone is the evening's pride. Two things that weren't supposed to meet did. Two things at the most specific grid of the evening's most committed intersection. Two things without the lane correction that the careful version would have made. Two things that neither swerved, neither played. The safe game of the evasive and the miss. Two things collided and I must insist. The wreckage is more interesting than the whole. Two things that met neither took the toll of the civilized and the accident avoided. Two things that it and I overjoyed. The crumple zone holds every beautiful thing. The collision is the evening's best event. Smallest piece got under the skin. The smallest pieces operating thin beneath the surface where the tweezers can't go. The smallest pieces running the show from underneath the invisible chains. The smallest piece is the source of the remains of discomfort that the comfortable ignores. The smallest piece guide going out the doors or the windows or the formal invitation. The smallest piece is the most specific station. The evening bill beneath my daily wall. The larger pieces I could pick and choose. The larger pieces were the ones to lose track of on the floor of what got broken. The larger pieces were the most outspoken. Evidence of the damage and the split. The larger pieces told me where the hit connected with the surface of the whole. The larger pieces played the starring role in the drama of the visible destruction. The smallest one avoided the instruction of the cleanup crew with the dustpan and the broom. The smallest one embedded in the room of the body that the broom can't reach. extraction is the most specific. When the medical provides against the state, I cancel the extraction and I pay the embedded the respect of the remain. The extraction crowd has never entertained the possibility that what got in is more interesting than the unblemished skin. The medical is holding as the goal. The embedded is the most specific mold inside the organization of the clean. The embedded is the sharpest that have been. The irritation's the reminder, not the flaw. The irritation is the most specific raw communication from the thing below. The irritation is the evening's undertow. Announcing its position in the flesh. The irritation in the margin of the nerve in my mind, the inner lace. The irritation is the most specific taste of the evening, the distraction, delete. The irritation is the most specific beat. The body adds to every step I take. The irritation is the most specific ache that proves the evening's smallest piece survives. The irritation is how the embedded thrives. Smallest piece caught under the skin. The smallest piece is operating again. The surface where the pieces can go. The smallest piece is running the show. From underneath the layer, the visible maintains. The smallest piece is the source of the remains of the discomfort that the comfortable ignores. The smallest piece guiding without the doors or the windows or the formal invitation. The smallest piece is the most specific station. The evening built beneath my daily walk.
Look.
The evening's only talk. The embedded stays and I prefer the sting. The smallest piece turned out to be the king. The pressure found weakness in the wall. The pressure didn't need to use the hall, the doorway or the window to get in. The pressure found the thinnest kind of skin, and the structure that I swore was fortified. The pressure found the line where the concrete lied about its own integrity. The bond, the pressure pulled the structure wasn't fun. I'll be honest, when the testing came around, the pressure made the most specific sound of the giving way that no repair can fix. The pressure split the strongest of the bricks. The lines deeper than the surface show. The lines through the things I thought I owned, to the version of the solid I maintained. The line runs and the solid is drained. Running down the center of the road, running through the version that excelled at the presentation of the whole. Running through the body's thickest wall, splitting what the man is put together. Running through the permanent forever. I was promised by the structure's guarantee. Running down the center line. From the depth of the sea, the breach. The line is the most specific breach. I've been waiting for without the knowledge. The running line just sent me back to college. They patch the hairline with the quick set pace, the cosmetic in the hurried and the haste of the cover up before the morning sees the evidence of the structural disease that the evening's pressure left across the face. They patch and the paste holds the place of the honest with the length of the commute. I let the hairline travel from the root to the surface without the intervention. The hairline is the most specific mention. The structure makes of its own limitation. The patching crowd is running imitation. The solid at the cost of the reveal. The hairline is the most authentic guild. The structure artists are the ones who let it run. The patching crowd is hiding from the sun. The fissure is the most specific door. The fissure is the entrance to the floor. The body with the solid version sealed. The fissure is the most specific feel. The evening plants its deepest seeds upon. The fissure is the only set that drawn together version of the man has been. The most specific thing it can't compare. The fissure and the depth are now connected. is the most unexpected entrance to the version I was keeping underneath the solid while I'm sleeping. Running down the center of the hell, running through the version that excelled at the presentation of the hall, running through the body's thickest wall. With the managed together, running through the permanent forever. Promised by the structure's guarantee. Running down the center line of me. I'm not feeling it with anything tonight. The light is letting go the light. Feel the depth that the secret can reach. The running line is the most specific reach. I've been waiting for without the knowledge. The running line just sent me back to college. The Fisher stays.
Look.
Split. The solid version wasn't built for this. Provides to the ones who need the underneath. The incision is the sharpest kind of teeth, thin enough to separate the truth from the performed, thin enough to do what the comfortable warm. The blanket of the managed over the real, thin enough to show me what I feel underneath the insulation of the kept. Thin enough to find where the honest slept below the surface of the day. Thin enough to cut the evening smoke between the public and the private. Thin enough to execute the plan. Evening half on the division of the two. Thin enough, I am coming through. They use the blood for the safest kind of spread. The butter knife for the evening and the bread of the comfortable and the softest cut. The butter knife keeps the underneath shut. From the visible to the gentlest divide, I chose the sharpest and the thinnest side of the evening's most committed blade. The butter knife can never make the grade of the separation that the sharp provides. The blunt is where the comfortable hides from the precision of the genuine divide. The sharp is the most specific guide. The surgical precision isn't cruel. The surgical is the most specific tool that man uses for the cleanest part. The surgical is the evening sharpest art of the division between the layers of the man. The surgical is the most specific scan of the body at the resolution of the truth. The surgical divided me into what was underneath the outer plate was sharper than the blade that made the raid on the surface of the managed and the worn. The surgical revealed what I had sworn. Thin enough to separate the truth from the perform. Thin enough to cut through the comfortable warm. public and the private math, enough to execute the plan. The evening half for the division of the two, and nothing. I am coming. The surgical, stay sharp, and I stay split. The blade revealed what the surface wouldn't admit. Walking on the surface that bites back. Walking on the carpet of the crack that they even laid across the floor I use. Walking on the beautiful view of the evening's most transparent break. Walking on the surface for my sake. It's reflecting every life from underneath. Walking on the most specific teeth. The floor is never going against my soul. Walking on the sharpest kind of soul. Oh, the evening scattered for the man. The barefoot was a choice that you were pushing. The barefoot is the most specific lesson in the reading of the surface with the skin. The barefoot is the most committed sin against the gospel of the soul-protected walk. The barefoot and the surface have a talk. The shoot 'em never overhear or share. The barefoot reads the floor, and the floor reads bare. They tiptoe through the dangerous with the most protective technique. The industry provides against the sharp. They tiptoe when the evening plays its harp. But the ones who walk the surface unprotected, the tiptoe crowd is carefully selected. The run the sharpest on the floor. I walk the most protected and wanting more of the surface reading of the barefoot. Yeah, it's the tiptoe crowd running regrets about the route they never chose to walk. The barefoot on the sharpest is the talk. The mosaic, the broken made in my feet. The mosaic is the most specific street. The evening waves the ones who walk without. The mosaic is the most specific shout. The floor performs against the wounded soul. The mosaic is the most specific toll. The barefoot pays for the privilege of the field. The mosaic is the most specific wheel that the floor provides to the command. The mosaic in my soul continue to talk in the language of the pressure and the give. The mosaic is the sharpest way to live. Surface that blows back. Walking on the carpet of the crack. The evening laid across the floor I use. Walking on the beautiful refuge of the evening's most transparent break. Walking on the surface from my feet. It's reflecting every life from underneath. Walking on the most specific teeth. The floor is ever grown against my soul. Walking on the sharpest kind of soul. The evening scattered for the barefoot man. The mosaic doesn't die for the man. The barefoot over the rubber shield. The sharpest floor became the richest field. Morning after count what the evening drain from the inventory in the hole. The morning The evening's what for done. The morning I found that every song it calculated to match the loss. The morning after couldn't find the bars. The audit of the days came back wrong. The artist said the broken was the strong version of the evening's final test. The artist said the wreckage was the best. The day after the everything came down. The day after is the most specific crown. The hidden places on the head of the survive. The day after is the proof that I'm alive. Always the standing version never was. The day after the most specific cause. For the celebration of the still here, still me. The day after is the most specific free I've ever felt inside the morning. The day after the most destructive night is the clearest morning I have ever seen. The day after, and I've never been more king. They be built before the evidence is dry. The reconstruction and the most specific lie that the evening never happened to the man. The reconstruction is the fastest plan. The careful executes against the proof. The reconstruction puts the morning's back on the structure that the ignorant. The reconstruction has the most evidence that the evening's death was here. I left the reconstruction in the rearview mirror. The morning's newest die. The unreconstructed is the most alive. The landscape of the posters, the most honest map. The landscape of the posters, the most specific gap between the who's and who the wreckage made. The landscape of the posters, the most specific grade the evening gave to the man who didn't flinch. The landscape of the posters, every inch of the territory, the standard couldn't see. The landscape of the posters, the most specific me. The evening's depths could carve from what was there. The landscape of the posters everywhere. I looked this morning with the newest pair of eyes. The landscape of the post is the most specific prize. The day after the everything came down. The day after is the most specific crown. Even places on the head survive. The day after is the proof that I'm alive. In ways the standard version never was. The day after is the most specific cause. For the celebration of the still here, still me. The day after is the most specific free I've ever felt inside the morning. The day after the most destructive night. The clearest morning I have ever seen. The day after, and I've never been more keen. The landscape of the posters mine. The wreckage spoke louder than the whole could talk. The weight came down when I didn't step aside. The weight compressed the version that I hide. Behind the bright and the standing tall. The weight came down and I absorbed it all. Into the flatter version of the man. The weight compressed me past the original plan. Of the vertical and the three-dimensional. The weight came down in the most conventional shape I occupy. Something new. The compressed to live it, what the tall never knew. The tonnage of the evening's heavy is drop. Landed on the shoulders that I brought to the top of the evening at its most gravitational. The tonnage was the most irrational. I'm under pressure for a single thing to hold. The tonnage in my shoulders have been told by the careful that the low would be the end. The tonnage in my shoulders didn't bend. They compressed on what the compressed provides. Is the density, the vertical device. Too thin across the height of the tall man. The compressed is the most specific and across the vertical with the brace. The structural support against the grace of the downward of the evening recommends. The prices of the vertical extends. The T against the natural compress. vertical, absorb the press without the brace and with the flip. It is the most specific version of the ground I've ever occupied at this density. The brace prevents the most specific intensity. The evening offers to the ones who take the lead. So the floating is the most specific. The diamond was the coal that took the weight. The diamond was the most specific fate. A body that accepted the course. The diamond is the product of the proof. At the pressure that the core could not refuse. The diamond is the core that didn't lose. It's core when the time tried its claim. The diamond is the core that kept its flame burning at the center of a squeeze. The diamond is the most specific please. The evening gets when the pressure finds the one who takes the weight, and the diamond has begun. The weight came down and I didn't step aside. The weight compressed the version that I hide. Behind me upright and standing tall. The weight came down and I absorbed it all. Into the black version of the man. The weight compressed me past the original plan of the vertical and the three-dimensional. The weight came down in the most conventional shape I occupied is something new. The compressed delivered with the tall never knew. The diamond formed and the pressure stays my friend. The cold took the weight and shines without end. The sea lock wall was outside of it. The seal was the most angelic technique. The body used against it, even then. The soul was guaranteed to get in. Point of the evening's needle from the chest. The seal was the most expensive test. The careful walk against the most specific poke. The seal meant the evening's burning low. This escaping is the song. This is the most specific alone. The body surface where the pin got through. The hiss is the sweetest sound I ever knew. One hole and the pressure equalized. One hole and the body's most disguised. Tension found the exit it deserved. One hole in the overinflated curve. Proportion of the real. One hole and I finally got to feel the atmosphere, the pressure rise tonight. One hole in the outside of the inside. At the diameter of the evening small tool. One hole when the inflated versions rule. Expired at the hiss of the released. One hole and the tension finally ceased. They passed the puncture at the fastest speed. The rapid repair is the most specific creed. The inflated live by at the cost of the equalized that the patching lost. I let the puncture breathe without the kit. The puncture and the body of the most legit relationship. The evening's pin design. The patching route left the best part behind. The deflection isn't failure, it's the fit. The deflation is the most specific knit between the body and the evening's air. The deflation is the most specific share of the atmosphere with the personal inside. The deflation is the evening's longest ride. The proportion the inflated oversold. The deflation is the bravest. Bold admission that the pressure wasn't mine. The deflation is the most specific sign that the body found its natural size and last. The deflation is the future, not the past. And the pressure equalized. One hole, and the body's most disguised. Tension found the exit it deserved. One hole in the overinflated curve. Proportion of the real. One hole and I finally got to feel. The pressure rise The diversion from my natural side. One pin was all it took to equalize. The detonation left its souvenirs embedded in the body and the ears of the man who stood the closest to the blast. The souvenirs are traveling too fast to catch your catalog or fly away. The souvenirs are the evening sharpest rails distributed across the standing crowd. The detonation wasn't even loud, but the metal it distributed was wide. The souvenirs are living on the inside. The epicenter was the speaker on the left. The epicenter was the most specific depth. The comfortable from the standing man. The epicenter had a specific plan for the distribution of the shock. The epicenter played the evening's harp with the strings of the metallic and the synth. The epicenter was the main event. They stand behind the bariatric line. The safe distance is the most specific sign. They careful rap before they take this one. The safe distance is the most specific grip. I stood at ground zero with my chest. They tapped the speaker at the evening's best. They go for the maximum receipt. I stood with the evening sharpest green. The lodged is the most permanent memento. The lodged is the evening's most specific ento into the body's most committed key. The lodged is the opposite of sleep for the tissue that received the evening sun. The lodged is the most committed friend the body has from the evening's closest blast. The lodged arrived and it was built to last. The detonation left its souvenirs embedded in the body and the ear of the man who stood closest to the blast. The souvenirs traveling too fast to catch your catalog or fly away. The souvenirs are the evening's sharpest ray distributed across the standing crowd. The detonation wasn't even loud, but the metal distributed was wide. The souvenirs are living on the inside. The large stays put in die, I'm keeping every piece. The detonation sign my permanent release. The edge I'm carrying tonight won't fall. The edge resists the smooth with its own style of the uncooperative and the refused. The edge is the most beautifully abused version of the line is straight abandoned. The edge is where the careful never landed. Because the careful only walks on the wild. The edge I'm carrying is the most specific wild. This rated won't apologize for the. This rated is the most specific strut. The body walks when the smooth has left the room. This rated is the evening's favorite groom. Not smoother, and that's the point of every step. Not smoother, and I have earned my daily rep from the rough of the unpolished kind of strap. way buff the surfaces before the show. The rotary and the compound and the glow of the finished and the exhibition. Ready they rise until the surface holds them steady. Through the rotary off the boat, the unbuffed surface doesn't need the clock of the polishing sponge to exist. The unbuffed is the most specific twist. The even catch the evening at the most specific weave. The teeth of the uneven make them believe. They're careful fabric on the edge I am. The teeth are the most specific exam. The evening gives to every hand that tries. The teeth collect the most specific prize. Not smooth, and that's the point of every step. Not smooth, and I have earned my daily rep. From the rough to the unpolished kind sky. Not smooth, I have nothing left to hide. Behind the sanded and the buffed and the refined. Recognizes now smooth and full of the most specific surprises. For the ones who run their fingers down the straight. Not smooth is the most specific fate of the man who quit the sandpaper for good. The teeth stay sharp and the edge is mine. The rough is the most committed design.
No. Game start.
Trajectory, I was running all straight. The trajectory had the most specific day. With the object coming from the other lane. The trajectory and the object share the plane. Even at the most specific point, the trajectory didn't care about the joy. Decision of the careful to avoid. The trajectory and the object were deployed. The angle of approach was absolute. The angle left no room for the reroute. The careful version tries before the meet. The angle locked in the collision was complete. Two things that weren't supposed to meet did. Two things at the most specific grid of the evening's most committed intersection. Two things without the lane correction that the careful version would have made. Two things that neither swerved and neither played. Safe game of the evasive and the miss. Two things collided in a must insist. The wreckage is more interesting than the whole. Two things that met and neither took the toll of the civilized and the accident avoided. Two things that hit and I am overjoyed. They swerve at the last committed second. The near miss is the most specific beckon. Victory to careful celebrates. The swerving in the almost is the gate. The careful walks through to the undamaged side. I held my lane and went the other side. Delivered at the speed of the committed. The most specific thing, the swerve don't mid. The crumple zone absorbed what it was built to take. The crumple zone is the most specific gate. The body carries from the meeting of the two. The crumple zone is the evidence I flew into the evening at the unswerved rate. The crumple zone is the most specific rate of the body that refused to change its name. The crumple zone recorded every grain. The impact at the speed I chose to go. The crumple zone is all I need to know about the value of the unswerved ride. The crumple crumple zone is the evening's pride. Two things that weren't supposed to meet it. Two things at the most specific grid of the evening's most committed intersection. Two things without the lane correction that the careful version would have made. Two things that need swerved and either played. The safe game would be evasive and the miss. Two things collided and I must insist. The wreckage is more interesting. Two things I met and neither took the toll of the civilized and the accident avoided. Two things at it and I am overjoyed. The crumple zone holds every beautiful that the collision is the evening's best event. The smallest piece got under the skin. The smallest pieces operating thin beneath the surface where the tweezers can't go. The smallest pieces running the show from underneath the layer the visible pains. The smallest piece is the source of the remains of the discomfort that the comfortable ignores. The smallest piece guiding without the doors, the windows or the formal invitation. The smallest piece is the most specific station. The evening bill beneath my daily walk. The larger pieces I can pick and choose. The larger pieces were the ones to lose track of on the floor of what got broken. The larger pieces were the most broken. Evidence of the damage and the split. The larger pieces told me where the hit connected with the surface of the whole. The larger pieces played the starring role in the drama of the visible destruction. The smallest one avoided the instruction of the cleanup crew with the dustpan and the broom. The smallest one embedded in the room of the body that the broom can't reach. The smallest one is past the longest teeth. The cleanup crew could offer with its tools. The smallest one rewrote the damage rule. They sanitize a wound and pull it clean. The extraction is the most hygienic scene. The medical can stage for the embedded. The extraction is the most accredited. Searching for the thing beneath the skin. The extraction is the most specific. When the medical provides against the state, I cancel the extraction and I pay the embedded the respect to remain. The extraction crowd is never entertained. The possibility that what got in is more interesting than the unblemished skin. The medical was holding as the goal. The embedded is the most specific mold inside the organization. Clean, the embedded is the sharpest I have. The irritation is the reminder, not the flaw. The irritation is the most specific raw. Communication from the below. The irritation is the evening's undertow. This position in the flesh, the irritation in the body's mesh of the nerve and the reminder in the legs. The irritation is the most specific taste of the evening that extraction would be delayed. The irritation is the most specific beat the body adds every step I take. The irritation is the most specific ache that proves the evening's smallest piece survives. The irritation is how the embedded scar under the skin. Smallest pieces operating then beneath the surface where the pieces can't go. The smallest pieces running the show from underneath the layer the visible maintains. The smallest piece is the source of the remains of the discomfort that the comfortable ignores. The smallest piece guiding without the doors or the windows or the formal invitation. The smallest piece is the most specific station. The evening bill beneath my daily walk. In the structure that I swore, pressure found the line where the concrete lied about its own integrity and the bond. The pressure proved the structure the most specific sound of the given way that no repair can fix. The pressure split the strongest of the bricks. The line runs deeper than the surface show. The things I thought I owed to the version of the solid I maintained. The line runs and the solid is drained. Running down the center of the hill, running through the version that excelled at the presentation of the whole. Running through the body's thickest wall. Splitting with the match together. Running through the permanent forever. I was promised by the structure's guarantee. Running down the center line. I'm not feeling it with anything tonight. The running line is letting the light from the depth of the sealed couldn't breach. The running line is the most specific breach. The running line just sent me back to college. They patch the hairline with the quick set pace. The cosmetic in the hurry then the haste of the cover up of the morning seas. The evidence of the structural disease that the evening vision across the face. The pattern of place holds the place of the honest with the length of the commute. I let the hairline travel from the root to the surface without the intervention. The hairline is the most specific mention. The structure makes of its own limitation. The patching crowd is running the inflation of the solid at the cost of the reveal. The hairline is the most authentic yield. The structure honest with the ones who let it run. The patching crowd is hiding from the sun. Here's the most specific law. The fissure is the entrance to the floor. The body, the solid version sealed. The fissure is the most specific field. The evening plants its deepest seeds upon. The fissure is the evidence that the drawn. The version of the man has met. The most specific thing we can't forget. The fissure and the depth are now connected. The fissure is the most unexpected entrance to the version I was keeping underneath the solid while I'm sleeping. Running down the center of the hill, running through the version that excelled at the presentation of the whole. Running through the body's thickest wall. Splitting what the managed kept together. Running through the permanent forever. I was promised by the structure's guarantee. Down the center line of me. I'm not feeling it with anything tonight. The line is in the light from the depth of the sea. The line is the most specific breach. I've been waiting for without the knowledge. The running line just sent me back to college. The fissure stays. Prefer the split. The solid version wasn't built for this. The blade that even handed me was thin. The skin from the underneath that the careful never parts. The blade is the most surgical part. The evening practices on the will and hide. The blade went through the managed and the pride. I wore as the most protective outer shell. The blade is thin enough to tell the difference between the shown and the kept. They divided what the surface swept under itself for the maintenance of the clean. The most specific thing between the incision isn't damage, it's the most specific opening that the evening's host provides to the ones who need the underneath. The incision is the sharpest kind of teeth, thin enough to separate the true from the performed. Thin till it's divided. Chose the sharpest and the thinnest side. The evening's most committed to blade. The butter knife can never meet the grade of the separation that the sharp provides. The blunt is where the comfortable hides from the precision of the genuine divide. The sharp is the most specific pride. Surgical precision isn't cruel. The surgical is the most specific tool. The evening is for the cleanest part. The surgical is the evening sharpest art of the division between the layers of the man. The surgical is the most specific scan of the body at the resolution of the truth. The surgical divides me into what was underneath the outer edge was sharper than the blade that made the raid on the surface of the managed and the worn. The surgical revealed what I had sworn. Thin enough to separate the true from the performed. Thin enough to cut through with the comfortable warmth. As the blanket of the managed over the real. Thin enough to show me what I feel underneath the insulation of a cat. Thin enough to find where the body's locked below the surface of the daily code. Thin enough to even this mode between the public and the private man. Thin enough to execute the plan. Even half of the division of the two. Thin enough coming through the surgical. Stay sharp and I stay split. The blade revealed what the surface wouldn't admit. Walking on the surface, nobody's back. Walking on the carpet of the crack that they even laid across the floor I use. Walking on the beautiful refuse of the evening's most transparent break. Walking on the surface for my sake. It's reflecting every light from underneath. Walking on the most specific teeth. The floor is ever grown against my soul. Walking on the sharpest kind of soul. The evening scattered for the barefoot man. The barefoot was a choice to a question. The barefoot is the most specific lesson. The reading of the surface of the skin. The barefoot is the most committed sin against the gospel of the soul protected walk. The barefoot and the surface have a gap. You will never overhear or share. The barefoot reads the floor and the floor reads bare. They tiptoe through the dangerous with the thick the most productive trick the industry provides against the sharp. The tiptoe in the even plays its heart for the ones who walk the surface so protected. The tiptoe grabbers carefully selected. The glitter and the sharpest on the floor. I walk the most direct and wanting more of the surface reading that the barefoot gets. The tiptoe crowd is permanent regrets about the roof they never chose to walk. The barefoot is the tall. The mosaic broken made in my. The mosaic is the most specific. The evening pays for the ones who walk without. The mosaic is the most specific. The floor performs against the unprotected soul. The mosaic is the most specific toll. The barefoot pays for the privilege to feel. The mosaic is the most specific. Provides to the committed walk. The mosaic and my soul continue to talk. The language of the pressure and the give. The mosaic is the sharpest way to live. Walking on the surface that bites back. walking on the carpet that the evening laid across the floor I use, walking on the beautiful refuse. Walking in the surface for my sake. It's reflecting every light from underneath. Walking on the most Pacific teeth. The floor is ever grown against my soul. Walking on the sharpest soul. The evening scattered for the barefoot man. Say it cuts and I prefer the plan. Rubber shield, the sharpest floor we can reach. The morning after looked at what remained. The morning after counted what the evening drained. From the inventory of the standing in the hole. The morning after tried to take control of the damage that the evening's never done. The morning after found that every song calculated didn't match the loss. The morning after couldn't find the bars. The audit of the damage came back wrong. The artist said the broken was the strong version of the evening's final test. The artist said the wreckage was the best. The day after the everything came down. The day after is the most specific crown. The evening places on the head of the survive. The day after is the proof that I'm alive. In ways the same version never was. The day after the most specific cause for the celebration of the still here, still me. The day after is the most specific free I've ever felt inside the morning's light. The day after the most destructive night is the clearest morning I have ever seen. The day after, and I've never been more keen. They be built before the evidence is dry. The reconstruction and the most specific lie that the evening never happened to the man. The reconstruction is the fastest plan. The careful execution is the proof of the reconstruction. It's the morning truth back on the structure that the evening wrote. The reconstruction hides the most direct evidence that the evening's depth was here. I left the reconstruction in the rear view mirror of the morning smoothest drive. The young reconstructed is the most alive. The landscape of the posters, the most honest map. The landscape of the posters, the most specific gap between the who I was and who the wreckage made. The landscape of the posters, the most specific grade the evening gave to the man who didn't flinch. The landscape of the posters, every inch of the territory. Couldn't see the landscape of the post is the most specific need that the evening's depths could carve from what was there. The landscape of the post is everywhere. I looked this morning with the newest pair of eyes. The landscape of the post is the most specific pride. It's the day after the everything came down. The day after is the most specific crown. Evening places on the head of the survive. The day after is the proof that I'm alive. In ways the standard version never was. The day after is the most specific cause for the celebration of the still here, still me. The day after is the most specific free I've ever felt inside the morning's light. The day after the most destructive night, the clearest morning I have ever seen. The day after, and I've never been more keen. The landscape The weight came down and I didn't step aside. The weak compressed the version that I hide behind the upright and the standing tall. The weight came down and I absorbed it all into the flatter version of the man. The weak compressed me past the original plan of the vertical and the three-dimensional. The weak came down and the most conventional shape I occupied is something new. The compressed delivered what the tornado knew. The tonnage of the Eden's heaviest drop landed on the shoulders that I brought to the top of the Eden at its most gravitational. The tonnage was the most irrational. I'm under pressure for a single thing to hold. The tonnage of my shoulders have been told by the careful that the low would be the end. The tonnage of my shoulders didn't bend. They compressed them with the compress provides the density, the vertical divide. Then across the height of the tall man, the compressed is the most specific, and they was the vertical with the brace. The real support against the grace of the downward that the evening recommends. The basis of the vertical extends. It's T against the natural compress. I let the vertical absorb the press without the brace and with the flattened sound was the most specific version of the ground I'd ever occupied at this density. The brace prevents the most specific intensity. The evening offers to the ones who take the low. The flattened is the most specific. Step aside. The way compressed the version that I hide behind the upright and the standing tall. The weight came down and I absorbed it all into the flatter version of the man. The weight compressed me past the original plan of the vertical and the three-dimensional. The weight came down in the most conventional shape I occupied is something new. The compressed the tone never knew. The diamond form and the pressure stays my friend. The gold and shines without end. The seal I wore was airtight at its peak. The seal was the most engineered technique. The body used against the evening. The seal was guaranteed to keep the thin. Pointing out the evening's needle from the chest. The seal was the most expensive vest. The careful war against the most specific poke. The seal of the evening's brand new. The hiss of the escaping is the song. The hiss is the most specific alone. The body surface where the pain got through. The hiss is the sweetest sound I ever knew. One hold and the pressure equalized. One hold and the body's most disguised. Pushing for the exit it deserved. One hold and the overinflated curve. Proportion of the real. One hold and I finally get to feel. Feel the pressure rise tonight. One hold and the outside met the inside. At the diameter of the evening's smallest tool. One hold and the inflated versions rule. Explode. tension finally ceased. They pack a picture at the fastest speed. The rapid repair is the most specific breed. The rules they live by at the cost of the equalized and the patch ain't lost. I let the puncture breathe without the kit. The puncture and the body are the most legit relationship. The evening's been designed. The patch crowd left the best part behind. The definition is a failure. It's the fit. The definition is the most specific knit between the body and the evening's air. The definition is the most specific share of the atmosphere all inside. The deflation is the evening's longest ride. It's the proportion the inflated oversold. The deflation is the bravest and the bold. Admission that the pressure wasn't mine. The deflation is the most specific sign that the body finds its natural size and length. The deflation is the future, not the past. One hole and the pressure equalize. One hole and the body's most disguised. Tension found the exit it deserved. One hole and the overinflated curve. Proportion of the real. One hole and I finally got to feel the atmosphere, the pressure rise tonight. One hole and the outside met the inside. The diamond of the evening smallest tool. One hole and the inflated versions rule. Expired at the hiss of the released. One hole and the tension finally ceased. The deflation found my natural size. One pin was all it took to equalize.
Luz. Game start.
Say the word once. That's the only cue we need. Light catches every edge in the room. Say it once, that's enough. Say it once, watch it land. Say it twice, watch it grow. Say it loud, hold the stand. No setup, no rehearsal, straight to the mark. Walk and finish, walk the sharp. Move time before it starts. Oh, 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 oh. No one's checking notes, no one's holding back. This is the only take we need. Crowd knows the shape of this before we speak. Can't come without a signal. Scream behind us, then gone voice comes in clean, no delay in the line. Everything locked before the first beat drops. Like hit the floor and nobody blinks. Every color popping bright. Then the last. Came in sharp, no dry run, no false start. Every word stack. Golden the tone, golden every step. Didn't rehearse it, didn't need to check. Silence broke fast and the crowd went loud. First bar landed, pulled everyone in pride. No script written, no space for a retake. Straight off the top, no delay, no fake. First one clean, second one clown. Still fully loaded, hitting every mark on will. Nothing rehearsed, nothing built on the script. Every line landing exactly where it's meant to sit. Every time it comes back around, this is the only shot we take. Every hit is on the same count. Breath keeps cutting through sharp and clear. Nobody's looking down at the feet. Already know exactly where to land. Second wind hits harder than the first. Whole room brighter than it was a minute ago. Back again, same edge, twice the reach. Every bar landing exactly where it's meant. No pause, no gaps. Straight through the beat, go keeps touching every single light. Caught it once, now the whole room sets it back. Nobody's holding anything in reserve. It's the peak, it's the mark, it's the take. No delay, no fade, no second guessing it. Straight through the gate, no letting track. Bars hit clean, nothing thrown back. Crowd caught it fast, matching the pace. Already in it, already in place. Still locked in, still matching the count. Light still catching every single edge. Nobody needed practice to get this right. This is exactly how it was supposed to go. Drop in, don't wait for the sign. Right on the line. Drop in, to the roof. Drop in, this is the lift. Drop in, don't wait for the sign. Drop in, right on the line. Drop in, to the room shift. Drop in, this is the lift. Lights cut fast, feet already moving. Door swings to the sound, pulling everyone. Let's go, word gets said. Bodies leaning, chasing the pose. Every footstep, matching the beat. Floor answers, back to the rhythm. Everybody's breaking the time now. Energy stacking, higher each second. Drop in. Dropping, dropping, everybody know, dropping. This is how it goes. Dropping, everybody know, dropping, everybody know, dropping, everybody know, dropping. This is how it goes. Room gets tighter, sound gets closer. Every step lines up with the goals. Shoulders rising with the sound. Bodies moving like they planned it. Nobody needed a reason why. Energy locking, nobody stopping, dropping. Rhythm keeps straight in the lead, dropping. Dropping. Sound stacking up, pulling everyone closer. Feet on the beat without even trying. Hands stay up, nobody backing down. Room moving at one single pulse. Energy climbing, past one stop. Every step landing, right on time. Nothing slowing, nothing holding back. One more time, here we go. Feel it climb, let it go. Hands up high, on the floor. Head, nothing slow. Room still bouncing, beat still climbing, legs still moving. Nobody stopping, nobody here is ready for it to end.
Zero.
Everything hits at once. Full volume. Room goes from zero to loud.
1 second flat, gone.
before they think. Nobody saw it coming, nobody cared. Speakers pushing past what they're built for. This is the only volume that exists now. Then everything hits again harder. Full volume, no warm up. Room goes from zero to loud.
Twice as strong.
Can't stay up, nobody's bringing them down. Every hit landing exactly on time. Floor shaking under the weight of the bass. Colors strobing faster than eyes can track. This is what the whole night was building toward. Nothing about this moment is holding back.
Zero, too loud.
Nothing between.
Zero, too loud.
Nothing in between.
Full steam, no one.
Only know that it.
This is the only speed that exists.
Room still ringing, still full volume.
Nobody's ready to bring it back now.
Ask around. Ask around. Already know the answer. Not asking twice. Say it once, not playing. Not playing. Watch it land, not playing. Every step counts. This ain't rehearsal, not playing. Talk less, walk straight, the middle to the left, eyes locked on the exit sign. Every word letting it show, nothing wasted. Crowd pause without anybody asking. Heels hit the floor like punctuation. Not here for small talk, not here for maybe. Not playing. No second warning. Not playing. Everybody knows. Not playing. Every glass burns. Not playing. Stays the same. Not playing. Chin stays level. Pace never breaks. Words lengthy. No room for maybe every eye tracking. Nobody looking away. Heels clench up against the concrete. Attitude carved into every single step. Not asking for space. Just taking it straight. Not playing. Everyone already knows how this ends. Chin never drops, pace never slows. Every word carries weight before it lands. Nobody's testing the same line twice. Confident, sharp enough to cut through noise. Standing tall, not asking permission first. I'm still watching, still line. Not playing.
Pleasant.
Not playing. Ask around. Watch it climb, 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 climb.
Game start.
chart. Past every mark. Numbers climbing, then that bass hits harder than they want break for. Places past what anyone call the limit. Lights flicker faster than the beat can hold. Everything is by the way. Should stop, proud, pushing forward. Chasing the sound, scream, flashing numbers, nobody can try. Energy stacking higher with every pulse. Nothing about this moment slowing down. Climbing higher, off the chart, further than before. Let's climb and breaking every score. Pace hits harder, twice the weight this round. Nobody's calling this the limit anymore. Sick of reading blows past the first by far. Nobody checking where the ceiling used to be. Every hand still reaching, still stacking higher. Sound keeps climbing past what the room can hold. This is the only number that matters now. Everyone chasing the same horizon. Still climbing, still past every mark. Nobody's ready to watch it come back down. One version holding One version holding still. One version holding still. Voice stays level, nothing pushing through. Every word measured before it says. Steps stay even, counting one by one. Hands stay folding, nothing reaching out. Same tone, same pace, nothing changes yet. Watch close, something shifting under this. Count, stay steady, but not for long. This is one version, holding the line. Careful and even, nothing out of time. Steady on purpose, nothing to prove. This is one version, waiting his turn. Different now. Different now. Voice cracks up, finally letting go. Every word landing loud and unmeasured. Steps break rhythm, moving how they want. Hands come up, reaching past the line. Tone shifts hard, pace picks up twice as fast. Nothing folded anymore, nothing held back. This is the version nobody saw coming. Loud and uneven, everything out of time. Just on purpose, nothing left to prove. This is the version taking its turn. Held it back long enough, done holding now. Every word sharp, nothing measured out. Steps hit hard, no counting anymore. Hands stay up, nothing folding back. Voice cuts clean through everything in me. Tone stays loud, pace never comes back down. Nothing careful left in how this moves. This the only version standing now. Still loud, still moving. Nothing folding back. It's the only version left standing. Already knew where this was going. Already knew how this was going. Walked in already knowing the outcome. Didn't need the room to tell me twice. Every step already counted before it landed. Nothing here feels like a question anymore. Confidence isn't something borrowed tonight. This was already decided before I got here. Everyone else is catching up. This exactly where I planned. Nothing left to prove. Holding a top spot further than the first time. Every eye still knows where to look. Confidence louder than it was a minute ago. Top spot, nothing about this shifting. Every piece already fell where it should. Everyone saying it together now. This was never really in question. This was always going to end up here. Everything about to change. Everything about to change. Frame pulling wider with every second. Edges stretching past what they held before. Colors bleeding past the lines they used to hold them. Everything stretching past where it started. Whatever this was, it's already gone. Wide open, nothing to frame the same. Every angle pulling back at once. This is bigger than it looked a second ago. Nothing fits the frame it used to. Walls pull back further than anyone expected. Ceiling lifts past where the eye can track every detail sharp. And now that the frame's this wide, colors different, spread out this far. This room stopped feeling small a while ago. This is the version nobody planned for. Frame pulling even wider than the first time. Everything stretching past where it stopped before. Nothing about this settling back down. Bigger every second. This keeps climbing. Wide open, further than before. Every angle pulling past the last one. This is bigger than anyone accounted for. Nothing fits the frame it used to hold. Every corner visible that wasn't there before. Details stacking faster than eyes can follow. The scale isn't something anyone planned. Room keeps opening past like the edge. This is the only frame that makes sense now. Everyone's standing inside something bigger. Still wide, still opening further. Nothing going back to how it framed before. Everyone's about to lose this. Count stops, matter in the second this hits. Nobody's holding anything back now. Take it up. Everything moving as one. Every hand up, every voice matching. Sound cutting clean through everything else. Crowd goes with it all at once. Take it up. This is the only line. Yeah. Came and loaded every bar, counted it and hold nothing. Didn't need a crowd, fed it first before the words landed. Every syllable pulling more people in. Everyone moving, nobody standing still. Every line landing, heavier than the last. Nothing about this pace, letting up. This the only version anyone's getting. Take it all, better than the first time. Every hand higher, every voice louder. Everything is harder, cutting deeper this round. Crowd goes with it. Everything letting loose. Take it all, everything already gone. Yeah. Second round hits harder than the first. Every word letting heavier than before. Nobody standing still through this part. Everyone chasing every single hook. Sound keeps cutting through everything left. Every bar stacking higher than the one before. Pace never drops, never even considers it. This the only sound that matters now. Third round already building past a second. Every word sharper than anything said before. Nobody's catching up at this point. Every syllable landing exactly on the mark. Energy stacking past what felt like the ceiling is the loudest. It's been the whole way through. Nobody's asking when it slows down because it's not stopping anytime soon. Take it all. This is the whole thing. Every hand up, every voice as one. Everything cutting through until it's all moving. Crowd fully gone all the way this time. Everyone already knows how this ends. Still going, still moving with it. Everyone here already went with this. First gear was just a warm up. First gear was just a warm up. Pace, grace, loose, nothing holding. Everything moving one gear higher. Sleeper, past the window. Where it stops slowing down. Steady at first, now it's breaking loose. Got double pulling everyone faster. Lights start blurring. No time, speed already ahead of where they started. Every beat landing quicker than the last. Nobody's checking what they left behind. Shit, rhythm keeps breaking. Feel this time, everything moving. Two gears higher, sky ain't gone. Nothing left to focus on. This is where it never slows it down. Second gear hits harder than the first. Every step landing sharper, faster, higher. Streets racing past like it's standing still. One leg cutting clean through the rush. Nobody's looking back at where they came from. This is the only rhythm that makes sense now. Shift. Third gear waiting right behind this one. Nothing about this ready to slow down. Every beat stacking higher than the last. Tempo keeps climbing past what felt like the peak. The streets still blurring, still racing forward. This is how it feels when nothing holds back. Still climbing, still shifting higher. Next gear's already waiting up ahead. Everyone already smiling before it starts. Every second building towards something bigger. Hands already moving before the beat asks. Energy spreading faster than anyone can track. Whatever this is, everyone's already in this feeling, stacking up like it's got nowhere else to go. Everybody moving like nothing else matters. This is the only feeling anyone needs right now. Every face lighting up the same way at once. This is exactly what tonight was building toward. Feet moving because the beat just feels this good. Every smile landing brighter than the one before. Nobody's watching the clock, nobody needs to. This kind of feeling doesn't come around often. Full of people locked into the same rhythm together. This is the kind of night everyone remembers. Still climbing.
Game start.
Second round, building even bigger than the first. Everyone already locked into the same energy. Nothing about the slowing down anytime soon. Feeling climbing past what felt like the peak already. Everybody moving brighter than before. Still the only feeling anyone's chasing. Every face lighting up the same way all at once. This is exactly what everyone came here for. Every corner of the room feeling the same pulse. Nobody remembers the moment before this started. Doesn't matter. Everyone's fully here now. This is the kind of night that writes itself. Every smile pulling in one more person. Nobody wants this feeling to end. Still buzzing, still fully in this. This is exactly how tonight
คุณค่อยดาวน์ลง
already past where anyone else started. Yeah, 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 yeah. Already past where anyone else started. Didn't wait for a signal, didn't even want each second already ahead of the last pace. Never check, never even consider slowing everyone else. Figuring out the starting line. This is already past every marker anyone set. Nothing about the stop until the back. Already gone past the limit. Nothing holding on. Past the limit, further than the one before. Every second, this doesn't stop. Past the limit. Came in already moving, never touched the brakes. Every bar landed faster than the last one. Dropped, didn't build up. Till this was already here. Every word cutting through before the beat catches up. Nobody's keeping pace, nobody even trying. It's the only speed that makes any sense. Every line stacking faster than anyone can follow. Already 3 steps. That's where this started. Further gone, past the limit. Nothing's slowing down. Past the limit, pulling further from the last. Every second, this never stops. Past the limit.
Game start.
Second run faster than the first ever was. Every word landing before the last one lands. Nobody's catching up, nobody's even close. This pace was never built to be caught. Pushing past where the last one stopped. Get you cutting through everything left standing. Nothing about this in the rear view. Already past the point anyone thought was the edge. Gone for good. Past the limit, never looking back. Past the limit,
คุณค่อยดาวน์ลง
this doesn't stop. Past the limit. Faster, still moving faster. This was never gonna slow down from here. This is the one that ties it together. Every step led here, every note counted. Nothing about tonight came together by accident. This is what the whole thing was building toward. The final piece finally sitting exactly where it belongs. Voice carrying further than it has on it. Each word landing with the full weight behind it. Sound cutting through clean, marking every turn. Nothing held back, nothing safe for later.